next up, we're going to invite, please, Tim Sweetman from Paragon and also Julian Marlow from Lloyds, please, up on the stage, because we are going to go through the mortgage landscape and the importance of AI on this fireside chat. So some questions. Here we go. Don't sit too far away from me. You can join me. You can, yes. Thank you. So I'll have to pass the mic, unless we have a second mic. Thank you. Yeah, no, there's going to be another one sitting there. Right, so would you like to start with a quick intro of who you are and what you do and what you'd like to deliver today or you'd like to learn out of today, please?
Yeah, certainly, no problem at all. So I'm Julian Marlow, National Account Manager for the Lloyds Banking Group. I've worked for Lloyds Banking now for 30 years, basically in the mortgage industry for the last 25 years. So we certainly see quite a few changes, and what we're seeing this morning, there's probably quite a few more changes coming down the line, isn't there? So I represent the Halifax and BM Solutions brands, and I look after some of the big major mortgage clubs and the national accounts within the UK. And yeah, in terms of AI, it was interesting to the opening remarks this morning, sort of saying nobody's an expert, and I would certainly put myself in that category. I can tell you what we're seeing from a bank's perspective, but yeah, I'm certainly interested in AI, and what we are seeing, we're probably delving into questions already, aren't we? But what we are starting to see is a little bit of early adoption in terms of AI.
Lovely, thank you so much, Julian. And Tim.
So good morning, everyone. My name's Tim Sweetman. I'm the National Account Manager for Paragon. I've been in Paragon around 8 years now. Recently appointed National Account Manager in the last 6 months. So it's been a fast start. My background, I've worked for large banks. I've worked for estate agents. So no boo in here if there's anyone talking about estate agents. But so I've got a good background, a good understanding, and I think today really one of the things why obviously I got invited today was that Paragon, we've brought a new origination platform out, and we're on a journey at the moment, so we're learning as well really about AI and how that's sort of helping us at Paragon. So yeah, it's a very interesting start, so looking forward to listening to what everyone's got to say.
Very exciting, thank you for being here. So the first question actually goes to you, Tim. What, from your work with brokers day to day, obviously after 8 years at Paragon, I'm so sure you've seen a lot of different types of brokers. And so where do you see AI making the biggest positive difference to their businesses right now?
Well, that's a big question.
Broad, yeah.
I really see it, certainly in our sort of specialist world, about how we present that information to customers, how they understand what that journey is all about. And I think that's where we're kind of seeing the real kind of benefit of using AI really. I think certainly in the specialist world, obviously it's a really kind of fast moving area. We've got lots of new people coming into the market. And I think it's just about how we can kind of deliver that and how we can explain that to new entrants. Certainly in the buy-to-let market that we're in, we've got lots of newer, younger people coming into that market at the moment. And obviously they're quite savvy. So again, it's for us as a lender making sure that we're on top of our game as well, and making sure that brokers kind of support that really, as far as knowing what they're doing.
So not everybody has built their own platform like Iftikhar and his team. So I imagine, and I have heard, there's a few brokers kind of comparing themselves to someone of that level. But is there anything small or daily or just minute that you think, a broker just implemented that, or they've used a platform or a software that they implemented into their business? It doesn't have to be a big app. Have you seen anything like that from your brokers?
I think around valuations, which obviously Iftikhar kind of touched on as well really. There's so much more sort of data out there at the moment that's flying about, which certainly in our specialist world, that's where we get a lot of challenges. And using that kind of information, and brokers sort of using that, I think, is a big area where it can really kind of support them on that client journey. Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. Yeah, evaluations, you don't want to, you're sitting there, you know, with your fingers twitching, thinking, what is it going to come back as? So yeah, if there's any data or information that can help us with that.
Yeah, I think as well, obviously one area that we specialise is in HMOs, multi-units, all the legislation around that. You know, it can be quite complicated, lots of technical things, and what we, you know, certainly in the past, things like that didn't really kind of crop up until the conveyancing stage. Now what we're seeing is that, you know, they're kind of preempting a lot of those kind of questions a lot earlier on in that process, so the journey is just a better one.
Definitely, and that can make or break the deal. So like Iftika was saying, if you're not using it, you're behind, and then another broker does a better job. So yeah, you definitely have to adopt that. So Julian, this one's for you. Pass the mic, please. So from a lender's perspective, how does a broker using AI stand out in comparison to one who doesn't? I think we were just about to get into that.
Yeah, so it's an interesting question, isn't it? Because obviously the mortgage market is made up of a huge variety of different mortgage businesses. You know, you've got people who literally just work for themselves to large-scale corporate companies, and what's right for one business isn't right for another business. And I would just make the point, as a lender, we don't want to dictate on how you should be running your business, sort of thing. What we are starting to see there in the market is people who are using AI. Certainly, it's at efficiency scale. So a word we use in the bank is sometimes reaching customers upstream earlier. So as you've seen in that initial presentation sort of thing, if you can quantify that lead, you know, if you're a really more large-scale business, if you can quantify that lead and think, yes, that customer, you can put it through an affordability calculator criteria. Can you reach them upstream earlier? Can you engage with them earlier? It's much more in your interest. If you think traditionally in the mortgage market, people would probably start looking at properties. They've got a rough idea, they think they know how much they can borrow, they think they can get a mortgage. They've probably done all of that, you know, been to the estate agents before they've even talked to a mortgage broker. And then the mortgage broker gets involved, sort of thing. It could sometimes be too late, but we are sort of seeing AI used, and sometimes look at it as it can do the heavy lifting for you. And ultimately, if you can bring in a more efficient model, does it give you more time to give the advice, self-protection? Ultimately, you're probably going to be more profitable and more successful moving forward, sort of thing. And the other thing I just point out, you know, like all lenders and the FCA, they're all looking at AI to make sure it's used responsibly and transparently as well.
Yeah, very good point to mention there. But I think, do you think that clients actually expect that of that service now? You know, if we're making shopping lists with Alexa and we're buying online and everything is slick and easy to use, and we're going to ChatGPT to reword our email, but then we come across a broker who hasn't got the systems, the process, and everything is manual. Do you think that holds brokers back because clients expect the service to be? Any one of you could take that question if you like.
Yeah, I think you're right in some respect, definitely. I think it depends on the customer type, but I think moving forward, you know, I've got an 18-year-old son at home. He's constantly on his mobile phone, isn't he? As I'm sure a lot of people's children are. The thought of him dealing with paper is alien, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
So I think that the first time buyers coming through, that next generation are going to expect that digital fact find, that digital capability. You know, if I take you back a few years before COVID, everything was done face to face. How many mortgage brokers see all their customers face to face? And yet now, and even lenders, you know, we had huge sales teams, everything was dealt face to face. And yet now, Zoom calls, Teams calls, is just considered the norm, isn't it? So I think, yes, moving forward, engaging with that next generation, first time buyers coming through, they're going to expect that you've probably got that digital capability.
100%, I agree with you, yes. Right, the next question goes to Tim. Many brokers worry AI means losing the personal touch. What would you say to those who think AI and relationships can't coexist?
Well, I strongly disagree with that, because certainly in my world, without brokers, it just couldn't function. We want AI, certainly in my world, to help the broker with those kind of, let's say, low complexity tasks. I appreciate that the market is moving on and it's getting a lot more advanced, but there's nothing like someone having that human touch. That's your brand, that's the brand that you want to promote, and as I said, it's a support mechanism rather than anything else. So I think that's...
Yeah, I agree with you. I think 10 years ago when I first joined the industry, the one bit of advice I was given, because I came from completely non-related industry, I didn't even know what a bridging loan was, and that was the first thing I had to sell: bridging, second charges, development. But I knew people, and I'd come from events and sales, and the one advice I was, given was be their friend, get to know them really well, do what you said you were going to do, and then anything you don't know, go and figure it out later. And that's never failed me, I have to say. I've been in it now for 10 years in this industry. But what's for certain, what's certain is AI is going to help you spend more time giving that personable service to your clients, because you're not buried in the paperwork, you're not stuck doing the manual work, you're going to actually free up more of your time to be able to spend more time with your clients, right?
Yeah, totally agree. And I think one of the things that some interesting stats that we had at Paragon is that confidence in AI mortgage brokers is continuing to be relatively low. It's around about 13%. So, but on the other hand, nearly a third of brokers are actually using AI tools. So that kind of
stats, yeah.
So they're using it to support their daily jobs. And that's exactly what we want to see.
But we're humans, we want to connect, because I heard it here when people were walking in, they were like, oh, it's so weird to see you in person, like in human form. I'm like, yeah, I know, I'm not a LinkedIn, robot, I am real, so it's nice to then connect with each other.
I think as well, when you've got long-standing brokers, generally they say, well, I've dealt with you, I've dealt with your son, I've dealt with your grandchildren, that's...
You
can't buy that, and that's just something that's really, really important. I think that's something just to kind of keep in mind, really.
Okay, the next question is for Julian. Lenders are moving fast with digital transformation. So how can brokers who embrace AI build stronger partnerships with the banks?
Yeah, so you're right, there's a huge amount of lenders doing a lot of work in the background in terms of API connectivity and technology sort of thing. I think we're on that interesting bit in the journey at the moment in terms of that technical capability and industry adoption, which is fair to say has probably been more challenging than the industry thought. We've been talking about tech for a number of years now, sort of thing. And there's a variety of reasons why mortgage brokers don't always want to adopt technology. Sometimes they're a little bit scared of it. Is there a risk? Is there a cost? They've got systems that work and they're extremely successful. Sometimes you can ask the question, who wants change? And everybody in the audience will put a hand up and say, yes, I want some change. But when you ask who's going to change, it's sometimes a different reaction you get, isn't it, sort of thing. But there is a lot of API connectivity, and really all we're looking to do is connect CRM systems into sourcing systems, into lenders' B2B systems, and we want to work with mortgage brokers, because the need to just key everything 4 times, if you can just key that once, and working with lenders, if it's keyed once by probably just one person, that information is coming across a lot more accurately. Now, generally, mortgage brokers do a fantastic job of keying information into lenders' systems. Every lender has a different system, don't they? So it's not always easy. But we can make it so much more efficient. And certainly our sales teams will be on the front foot out there. It's not a word I like to use, educating, but we want to work with mortgage brokers and really help you get the best out of your businesses, which also help us as a business in terms of process and speed, that type of thing. I think we're on that little bit of cusp of change. I think you're going to see some big developments over the next 12, 18 months from all mainstream lenders and specialist lenders as well, sort of thing. And ultimately, it's going to make the industry work a lot better and be much more efficient.
Yeah, I'm just thinking with my ex-BDM hat on, when I was travelling up and down the roads and having to win the business, say, no, use me, I used to work for a lender, and then I used to have to introduce them to the system, and I was like, oh, I'm going to have to train them how to use it, they don't like it, and they've got 1,000,001 things to say about the system, we're doing it wrong, we're not doing this, oh, the other lender's doing that, so I can see this coming up again, right?
And that's the other thing, as you said about systems, there's a lot of legacy systems out there, and they do take a while to change, it's not.
Exactly, yes. So it's about staying close to your BDM, your account manager, the sales team, really getting, it is that education. You know, I used to just go up and down the country and call people and say, let me come in because I'll show you and I'll show you how to do it. So that's that human touch, you know, keeping your brokers close, staying close to your BDMs. I think that's the most efficient way to make it happen.
As Tim commented on earlier, wasn't it? It's probably still that trust element, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just on that element of do I trust it, is it the right decision sort of thing. But, you know, a lot of progress has been made over the last 12, 18 months.
Wow, that's going to happen quick. Okay, back to Tim. If you could give brokers one practical example, just one example of how AI could help them grow income or save time. So a tool or an app or something you've seen or a hack that either makes them more money or saves them time, what would it be? Contemplating that. Anyone can take that. You can jump in.
You could probably say use AI more, can you? Use the tools that are available sort of thing. Because it comes back to what I said initially. It's that heavy lifting bit. You just said in your bit there, how many times have I put an email through ChatGPT and said, oh, make this a bit more business-like, or change this and do that sort of thing. You know, if you can use AI just to take out this simple admin task, ultimately you can be more successful. Scale of efficiency is what we're starting to see.
What's that repetitive task that you're doing? So for example, I like to write personalised proposals for all of my clients, you know, their story, their journey, their goal, their objectives. But I noticed I was doing the same structure every time. So what are your goals? What are your gaps? What are your challenges? And I kept doing this manually. So I then signed up to a recording tool. So you can use any recording tool for your calls. I use Otter, for example, Otter AI. It records the entire conversation, and then I can copy and paste that conversation or the highlights into my own chat GPT or GPT that I made. And then it follows and has learnt my proposal structure, so it can actually then write my proposals the way I would normally write them. So this could be for your suitability letter, those templates, I think, that are always going out the door. You know that they are your standard like templates. Why rewrite it from scratch? So that's one hack. It's kind of similar to what you've said.
And even using lender systems. You know, a lot of lenders now have web chat facilities like that. We certainly do in Halifax and BM Solutions. Again, it's that coming back to that word trust, isn't it? But trust it because the information is all there. Do you really need to ring that lender to get to speak to somebody to get that information about your case? Often.
And then wait on hold. Yeah, exactly.
Obviously not on hold.
No, not too long for you. No, not cautionary. But yes, exactly. If there's like a chat box or something that gives you the answer quicker, then yes, that might speed up.
And the beauty of AI, which obviously all banks are using, it learns.
Exactly, that's
so
what I was saying. Teach it.
Where, sadly, previous technology doesn't, but generative AI does learn, so it records that conversation. So the next person you call or uses the system, the information is there.
So true. I love it. Okay, did you want to add something?
I think on that as well, obviously as you just alluded to, one of the things that's really interesting is about kind of customer behaviours and how people do things in a certain way. And one of the things that we really kind of are trying to do is learn about why someone selects a certain rate and then aiming products that maybe to kind of sort of suit their needs a little bit more. And I think, you know, that's something that we're kind of really kind of big on, that we're sort of going on that journey at the moment. In respect to tools that can really benefit, one of the things that I use all the time when I'm in meetings is kind of a voice recorder, because I can never remember the full meeting. And certainly I know brokers are doing that when they're having meetings with, you know, on complex cases about just recording that information so they can recall it.
Instead of taking manual notes.
Absolutely,
and then typing them up. And
absolutely.
I wish I had this on my BDM days, because I used to be in the car literally scribbling things down and then sending a photo into the team saying I've just got a new lead, you know, like so...
Phone numbers, addresses, all those sort of things. You know.
Yeah, okay. Right, so Julian, back to you. We're looking ahead now, 3 to 5 years. I know you said there's big changes coming in 12 to 18 months, but looking ahead at 3 to 5 years, what do you think will happen to brokers who fully embrace AI versus those who stick to the old way of working?
I think it probably in summary is a little bit what we've heard all this morning, is it, in that broker who does embrace an AI, I think you're going to engage with that next generation of customers coming through a lot better than brokers who don't. I think you'll be a lot more efficient as a business model, ultimately be more profitable sort of thing. In summary, yeah, it's not to sort of say the broker who doesn't engage in AI at all is going to wither and die. I don't think that will be the case, but I think they'll find that their old models are just not going to be keeping up with pace in terms of technology and efficiency sort of thing.
They're going to find it less enjoyable,
Ultimately.
I believe, because if everyone else is doing it this way or that way, and then you're still doing it your old way, you might not enjoy it. Let's face it, a lot of brokers got into this industry for a lifestyle career, you know, to be flexible, to work around children, to have more time. And so these tools are all geared to help you do that.
Yeah, ultimately, embrace technology is there to help.
Exactly. Okay, this is to both, so I don't mind who starts. But if you had to give brokers one piece of advice about embracing AI today, what would it be?
I'd probably say start small, but start now.
Yes.
This is the future, as we've heard. Don't be scared of technology. Just use it, embrace it. It will make you more efficient. Ultimately, it's probably going to make you more profitable.
100%. Thank you, Julian. Tim?
Yeah, I'd just say, certainly on my journey, it's about doing those kind of bite-sized things, you know, try something new each time. I think one thing I've already learned is there's a bigger world than just ChatGPT. There are so many more apps out there at the moment to kind of suit or, you know, help you with whatever task that you're trying to do out there. So I certainly think that that's a big thing, really. You know, there is a much bigger world out there.
And on that big world, what I would say is then, on the flip side, don't get overwhelmed and confused and actually, or too excited. Don't get too excited and start downloading them all, subscribing to everything, trying to use everything. Oh, that looks like a cool AI to, you know, cut and paste one of my conversations. You know, there's so many things out there that can confuse you. So just think about what's absolutely important in your business. What's those tasks that are taking up too much of your time? So it might be the marketing, or it might be the compliance, or it might be the admin. So just focus on one area of your business first and really hone in on that. Then once you've mastered that, then, you know, do something else. So don't try and do it all at once, because there are so many apps, and before you know it, I was downloading so many for like a free trial, month free trial here, month free trial. Then I got the notification, you've got 7 days until your month trial ends, and I actually realised I didn't use it. I was like, oh, okay, so cancel that. So yeah, don't get trigger happy and download everything all at once. Okay, so a round of applause please for our speakers and for our guests here today, Julian and Tim. We are going to continue now with some more Q&A time, with Iftika now joining us on panel. Okay, so I've got spontaneous questions coming through here, so bear with me, I'm just going to get them. Okay, so this is about why brokers should embrace AI, but also what it actually unlocks. So everyone's talking about AI, you should do it, you should do it, you should do it, and maybe people online or people in the room are like, yeah, but what, or how, or when, or what does it actually give me, what does it actually provide? So I'm going to throw questions out there, and if you'd like to take the mic, because you might have to wrestle Iftika off it. Whoever wants to take the question, just put your hand up and just say, I'll take it, I'll take this one. Okay, so here we go with question 1. What's the easiest way for a broker to start embracing AI without turning their whole process upside down? Because I think this is the fear of, I've learned how to do it this way, so how am I going to implement AI? I told you Iftika was going to take the mic.
I work more closely with brokers, so I think it makes sense. Again, like I said in the morning, right, there are, platforms like ChatGPT, great helps. Obviously, I created Cypher. I think that's probably a very good start, because you can put your objectives down, and you know the AI will challenge you, and it will give you suggestions as well as to what you need to do. Because that's what's more important. You need to know what to do, because otherwise you will just end up buying so many apps like you mentioned earlier, and that's a waste of money, a complete waste of money. Because there are apps which do similar stuff, but one is good than the other in one feature, but whereas the other one is better than the other with another feature. So you'll end up just buying so many apps. So, you know, probably have a thought partner who can help you, like ChatGPT, create your own, because everybody's different, and make sure it's private as well. Right? There is always an option to keep it private. If you don't want to go, you know what you're doing. And I would keep away a lot of sensitive data from them, keep it quite general. That will always be helpful. But of course, there are a lot of people out there who can help you as well. Right? You know, there are people who ask me for advice, I don't charge them. Right? I speak to them, and you know, I just tell them, why don't you try this sort of thing. So that might be a very good start.
Yes, thank you, Iftika. And I will add at this point that you are welcome to ask questions, and how we invite you to ask questions to the panel. If there's anything that has been unanswered, this is your time now. Please scan the QR code and send in a question. I want everyone to leave with all their questions answered, or at least one thing that you are currently struggling with but you want to implement immediately. So send your questions in, because if they're not coming in, I won't be able to ask them. So please do that. But I do have another question here. Anyone can take this. So how do we make sure AI tools stay compliant with FCA rules? Feels like a fine line between automation and regulation. So it's a heavy one, compliance.
First thing, ask the provider whether you checked it with FCA. Because I know when we built marketplaces, we had to get certain rules from FCA before going live. So always ask that question, whether it's compliant. Of course, there are a lot of generic tools that you'll be using out there, but then check with your compliance team, or you can have external consultants. Right? We always use external consultants because sometimes we don't have the knowledge in-house to answer that sort of question. So it's always helpful. There are clubs out there, there's clubs like TMA out there, who are actually good at these things. So they will give you the guidance, because that's always helpful that you get the right guidance. Because last thing you want to know is break some of the FCA rules without knowing it. Because you are doing a good job, you're already trying to be efficient. Why would you want to break any rules, right? So, yeah.
But wasn't there that element, sorry, because I know about your app and your tools, the element of how accurately the app can check certain like bank statements that a human would miss, because you're going to, I don't know about you, but especially with the use of technology and AI and our mobile phones, my attention span is weakening. I don't know about everyone else, but it's hard to just keep up because we want information fast. So you're tired, it's a long day, you have to go through paperwork and loads of, isn't there apps that can actually pick up things that you can't? So technically it makes you more compliant, because it's picking things up that a human might have missed.
Definitely. Because there are certain things that the apps will do that you will miss, right? Again, I had a client who had 70 pages of bank statement. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to go through this, right? But we have to. That's our job, right? We have to. But if AI can help you, it's always good. It gives you the pointers. But also, just remember, you're still human. The buck stops with you, not with AI. You're still responsible. So at least have a glance through to see whether it makes sense what the AI does. Always use common sense, because that cannot be replaced. Right? AI is there to help you, but it's only a tool. And we always have to remember, AI is still, it's still in its infancy. Although it's doing fantastic stuff, there is still a long way to go with AI. Right? So use your common sense, that's very important.
Yeah, you have to, even with marketing, from my perspective, when people have posted, even clients that have worked with me before and they've posted something, I did a post the other day and I said, I can smell ChatGPT on your post. It was just a funny way to say, you've clearly just gone onto ChatGPT, copied and pasted it, you didn't adapt it to sound like you didn't, edit it, and it's not just the dashes and hyphens, it's like phrases like, and let's face it, or here's the truth, you can just tell it's a ChatGPT post. So yeah, it's not about cutting corners, it's about making you more efficient, but try and, it's only going to replace humans if you stop being human. So yeah, embrace it with your own personality, everything you do, not just the marketing, but yeah, even the compliance. Anyone else want to answer more questions on? Yes.
I was just going to make the point, and you made it, in terms of talking to Mortgage Club, talking network. As lenders, we have great relationships with all the major mortgage clubs and networks. We work collaboratively with them, sort of thing, in terms of technology. We sometimes get questions from different people saying, have you heard of this system, have you heard of this app, etc. Obviously in Lloyds we've got a huge IT department, sort of thing. we're there, we can help sort of thing. So if you're unsure, speak to your mortgage club, speak to your network.
Definitely. Yes, thank you for that. Next question. If there's one thing brokers could stop doing manually today because AI can already handle it better, what would that be? So a manual task that they're doing daily? Yes.
Well, fact finds would, I think, would be a big one, to be fair. So, certainly more in the resi space, for sure. Just taking out those kind of elements, those pre-screening calls. I definitely see a benefit, and obviously I learned something today about the kind of using AI to make those, with maybe new CVs and sort of pre-screening. That really does open up a new space, really, and save time in a massive way. Yeah, unbelievable. So yeah, I'd probably say that would be a big point.
Just out of curiosity in the room, who does use AI for fact find? Just put your hand up. Okay. Don't be shy. It's great. Well done that you're using it. But you see already in the room, fact find is something you're doing every day with 100% of your customers. There you go. That's one thing that you could replace today.
Yeah, I think as well, it's accuracy as well.
Yeah.
Because, ultimately, you want to sort of maintain that standard with your fact find, so that when you are presenting that information to a lender, is it accurate? Is it consistent about the information that you're providing? And certainly as banks, what we're trying to do at our end is to make sure that all that information at the start is as near as possible, as accurate as it possibly can, so we can get the right outputs for clients. And again, if you have change of staff, again, it's about providing that consistency with those fact finds. So if you've got a new trainee, maybe not as confident, again, that's where the kind of benefits can kind of really come.
Right, I've got loads of new questions that have just come through, so thank you for everybody asking them and sending them in. This one's for Julian. Julian previously mentioned there are changes expected over the next 12 to 18 months. What changes exactly are these, and how much is implementing AI, or how much of it is implemented by AI?
Well, it's not so much AI, it's more in terms of joining systems up together sort of thing. Obviously, I'd love to share all our thoughts with you, but as I'm sure you appreciate...
Whatever you can, yes.
There's not an awful lot commercially that I could share sort of thing, but I would sort of say watch this space in terms of that life will get easier in terms of API connectivity, not just with us as a lender, but across a lot of lenders.
Okay, interesting, thank you for that. And what we're all thinking, Iftikhar, is are you going to explain how to set up our own cipher?
Definitely.
Yay!
It's helped me. Anything that's helped me, I'm more than happy to share with people as well. Because I want people to embrace this. I don't want you to get left out. So, yeah, definitely.
Okay, next one I'm going to pick, because these are all really good. Will AI mortgage agents be integrated into lending banks in the future?
In terms of, do you mean like giving advice and that type of thing?
I don't know. Who asked this question? Maybe? Will AI mortgage agents be integrated into lending?
Well,
I think what that means,
as far as I'm aware at the moment, no.
No, okay. Does that mean like they think that there's going to be an AI mortgage agent at the lender to give advice about the lending that you offer?
Probably about 3-5 years, crystal ball thinking is
Perhaps.
But yeah,
Okay.
I mean, you're still going to be speaking to a human who's going to be giving that advice, aren't you? Yeah.
Yeah, please do go for it.
Yeah, I mean, as I said earlier, confidence in AI mortgage brokers is low, and it continues to be low. And then one thing that we're doing at Paragon is actually we're investing a lot more actually in people, in telephone teams, to support. So we do see the real value in obviously speaking to someone as well. As I said, we use it as a silent partner is how I would kind of describe it, really.
Yeah, love that. So what control and monitoring protocols can you implement to protect business data and ensure employees do not misuse it?
Obviously have guidelines. It's very important that you have guidelines, because all of us as companies, we have rules that we have to abide by, say GDPR, and various other things. Obviously, FCA has their rules as well. Data breach, you can end up with hefty sort of fines, right? So training is quite important. You train people properly and at the right time as well, and make sure that they don't do stuff, right? Because I've been asked questions by my staff, I can remember this some time ago, saying that, oh, can I put the bank statement on ChatGPT, it'll analyze it for me? I'm like, no, you can't. You just can't, because you're compromising data, right? So obviously, you just need to make sure that staff is trained, right? Because this is becoming a normal thing, right? I mean, if I personally decide to put my bank statement, that's my call. You cannot compromise on anybody's details because you have a responsibility. And those penalties or fines can be massive, right? You're talking about the GDPR stuff as well as FCA, right? So you don't want to be in the wrong books of any of those guys.
No, absolutely. Well, that brings us to a close. Thank you so much for answering those questions. You're definitely in the hot seat, and those were not easy questions to tackle.